It is that man versus the pound-for-pound best. Only in a Futureshock ring. I'm excited.
And best of all, Sam, it is for the most exciting title in British wrestling today. That blue and silver. The referee is showing to everyone right now. The Adrenaline Championship.
Held by prestigious wrestlers such as myself.
But also, let's not forget, Sonna Durson, Pete Dunne, and now Joey Hayes. And here we go. For the last time in the Guild Hall, the Adrenaline title will be defended. Fantastic to see that. That's what we want to see at the start of a match, especially between two men who are such road travel brothers and friends. I mean, collar and elbow to start it off. Who's got the strength advantage? Who's got the power advantage in this one?
I mean, I've got to give it to CJ. Just again, has a lower base, has that slight power advantage over Joey Hayes. Joey Hayes does have the height though, but I feel like
really fighting with this one though, trying to power each other back to the corner, and it's Hayes who manages to get it into the turnbuckle, into the corner. I think Hayes came out there with that might be a psychological advantage as we go forward. The first, perhaps, victory of the contest.
I mean, yeah, it's a very strange one for myself because both men I have had run-ins with over my 14-year career. Massive respect for both men. I actually, for once, don't have a horse in this race. I can't really see who.
Oh, the strength of CJ Banks. You
There's
can hear him putting the power behind that one. Backing off now is Joey feeling a little something there, and let's not forget Joey Hayes had that awful injury on his was it his left side that
his left side, his pectoral muscle was torn. He did have some surgery on that, but CJ Banks is aware of it as well. I mean, they, again, being on the road together, being friends for such a long time, as well as sometimes enemies. I mean, you will sometimes have to use your knowledge against an opponent to your advantage, and I won't really blame CJ Banks if he goes to that arm.
Going for this, both arms locked up with this test of strength, and as if the collar and elbow wasn't a test of strength. Look at this. It is shoulder to shoulder. It is arm to arm as these two men vie for position, for leverage, trying to get the other man onto the back foot, or perhaps take them over into an early pinfall.
Oh, CJ with the advantage there.
Absolutely. Look at that as he muscles Joey Hayes right over, bending the champion back. Can he get his shoulders? Can he get his shoulders down? Can he get those shoulders on the canvas? No. And look at Joey Hayes. What incredible core strength from Hayes to really power up from such an incredibly low vantage point.
And I mean, extremely bent as well. Like the idea that he was on his point, he's on his tiptoes and the top of his head. Being able to push it from that position is incredibly impressive.
Now returning the favour. CJ Banks, look at that. Bridging with his neck to keep his shoulders off the canvas to avoid that pinfall situation. And that's the name of the game in professional wrestling. Keep your shoulders off the canvas at all times. And don't get caught in a submission, of course.
I mean, that is...
Oh, whoa! Flips him right over, both men, with their shoulders. Got to be so careful here. Look at these dueling bridges. As we said, these men knowing each other so well.
I mean, it is rare to see the same level of respect in a wrestling ring.
What a unique way to defend the title as well. What a unique championship match when you've got two guys in there with that level of respect and you know, brotherhood with each other.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see who throws the first strike.
And that's what you're looking for.
I mean,
you want this to break down as soon as possible.
I don't want it to break down, but I'm just aware of both these men.
I'm amazed you're not, yelling for CJ to grab the hair or for Joey to hit a low blow. Or
I mean, I'm aware how volatile both these men are. Just watching back to Ashton's Ashton and Joey Hayes' match from not so long ago, it was Joey Hayes who did strike the first punch. CJ Banks notorious for having a volatile temper. We've seen it on TV, never mind in a Futureshock ring.
But when you take that away from CJ Banks, for my money, he's got one of the absolute best pure ground games in the country. Take the volatility away, and quite frankly, when he's here in Futureshock, it seems like he hasn't got that.
Yeah,
and now Joey on the arm.
As I said, the same thing I said with Joey Hayes versus Ashton Smith. It just takes 1 second for someone just to pull that trigger and snap.
Joey working on this arm here and this shoulder joint, keeping CJ Banks face first in the canvas, completely grounded. Refusing to let go of that one.
CJ Banks on the traps there.
And Hayes has got that arm locked in tight, and he is really wanting CJ with some fancy footwork to get out of that. Beautiful. And now with the shin bone across the jaw. He's trying to get those shoulder down. Is the other one down? The referee's in a great position to see this. Both shoulders.
I was going to say Joey's game plan by the looks of it, by working that arm, probably trying to position himself to have an advantage for the cross Hayes if he was getting it in. CJ Banks obviously known for his big bazooka knee.
He's got that. Both arms wrapped around the neck, and look how he's ducking his head down so there can't be any.
Yeah, that Japanese stranglehold is high on Joey. It's an impossible venture with someone with the likes of CJ Banks has you in it. It's not as easy as it may. I spoke too soon.
Joey Hayes turns that around, and now it is cinched in the reverse position from the other way around. CJ Banks manages to throw Hayes off, going for the leg.
Oh.
And CJ looking to twist him into knots here. No, floats over. 1 count. Incredible.
I mean, it's the first time in Karen Futureshock, but these two know each other so well.
It's move and counter move. It is hold and counter hold. It is 2 men trying to be the better man.
I mean, I would say at this point, Joey Hayes might have the advantage. He has the champion's advantage, we know him as well, but he seems to just know everything that CJ's about to do and have a counter for a counter, so...
Twisting that arm, and CJ Banks trying to reach back and grab the head to try and, I would imagine, pull Joey Hayes over. But Joey's got that hammerlock really wrenching in tight.
And yeah, once again, working that arm. Again, if we do see Joey Hayes going for that cross Hayes, it'd be very hard now for CJ Banks to find a reversal out of it. He is worn down. He's gone specifically for that arm the whole match. It'd be silly for me to say that Joey would go for the JKO at this point. I'd be looking for a submission victory.
That being said, a moment of high impact could switch the lights out and get the 3 count for either of these 2 men. But it doesn't, you're right. Oh, what a beautiful series. His shoulders, no, rolled over. And CJ Banks was down there.
He's strong.
Arm, cradled.
Oh.
Only a 2 count. And let's not forget, as we see every single time these shoulders are on the canvas, the Adrenaline title is on the line. The stakes for both these men are so high. Joey Hayes does not want to walk out the last showdown in the Guildhall with a loss. He doesn't want his last time in this historic building to be the time when he loses the Adrenaline title.
But you say that, but it could be CJ Banks' historic return. Not only comes in after a long hiatus, it becomes the Adrenaline champion for the last show of the Guildhall. Everything is in a very important match for both competitors.
We're going to see who goes in to our first, well, not our first, but our next show at the Stockport Town Hall with the blue and silver.
I mean, you say that, but there's also the Underground show in between that as well. There is a lot coming up.
And Joey Hayes has managed to keep his one shoulder off the canvas there. The referee keeps checking to make sure he's not in a compromised pinfall position. And CJ Banks has really got him pinned without the shoulders being down here.
Yep,
he's got him pinned to the canvas.
You struggle with the arm locked between the legs like that. It's a struggle for Joey Hayes to, again, get and a base. CJ letting go there. It's an interesting tactic.
Shoots off into the rope. Oh, a shoulder barge. Throw to to the ropes again. What a low cross body. Takes him over by the head. CJ gets the head himself. Flip out by Hayes. Takes him back down over to control the head. Move, counter move, anticipation, reaction. These two men know each other so well, Sam.
I was going to say that it does look like CJ is showing a little bit of his frustration as well, resulting to rope running as well, which you don't really see CJ do very often. Had an opportunity to maybe throw a clothesline, maybe throw a strike, hasn't done so far. That must just still be the respect element he has for Joey Hayes. But again, in my situation, the frustration will probably be getting to CJ Banks now. Doesn't want to make his return with a loss.
Joey keeps hold of that headlock as CJ Banks himself get up. Banks took the leg out from under him. Couldn't quite see from our vantage point. Banks, I would think, wants to get up to a vertical base here. He's trying to slip out of that headlock, but it doesn't look like there's any give in that hold. CJ Banks is trying everything he can to slip free, break out. Oh, that might, no. Joey Hayes brings him right back down to reality. You see how CJ Banks trying to keep those arms locked together to keep that shoulder off the canvas, but now rolls him through.
Yeah, it'll be
hoping that Joey Hayes will break the holds to escape the 3 count, but didn't work.
But as you saw, CJ Banks there did cradle him for the pin, but as soon as he kicked out, CJ Banks was able to bring himself onto his front, unable to be pinned in this position. He could be using it for a respite, but I feel that CJ Banks, again, is just frustrated. He's trying to find escape with this headlock, and he can't.
This has been 10 full minutes of hold for counter hold, for reversals, for just two men trying to out wrestle each other. There have been no shots thrown. That's what so many was pleased to see from these two guys.
Big arm drag though.
Look at the knee right across the face.
And again, remember that injured pectoral. Just using his
using the legs to try and grab a hold around the neck, around the head.
Trying to put his body on to make sure they get that pinfall.
A targeted knee right to that arm.
And again, frustration set in. He wasn't getting anywhere by just trying the pinfalls. Just putting that pain element up to another level. Twisting
and wrenching, torquing the wrist, bending the fingers back. Look at the hold that CJ's got on that arm and that hand. Twisting it.
But again,
there's the hammerlock there.
Joey Hayes doing the same thing, getting himself onto his front, unable to be pinned now, but has put himself in a more dangerous predicament, having that arm behind your head, into a hammerlock, into a pin.
Oh, the shoulders are both down. Manipulating those holds until not only was the pain and the pressure points being used, but both shoulders were on the canvas. And CJ Banks now, looks like the tides have turned and CJ Banks is now back in full control.
I mean, keep an eye on look on CJ's low position, has a knee on the chin, has his other leg already almost on top of his body there, locking it with both arms. Joey Hayes is in trouble.
He's in real trouble, you are right. It seems like CJ has had an answer for an awful lot of what Joey's been throwing out. He's managed to pull himself.
Are we going to get a clean separation? No. Joey
holds on. Look at that. Twist the arm, trying to go for another hammerlock or an arm bar. Up and over. And Joey goes shoulder first into the turnbuckle. And it is that left shoulder, that left arm again that collided with the corner. That's the arm that CJ's put his effort in.
Just that CJ obviously just leaning back ever so slightly, adding that little bit of pressure. Just putting Joey Hayes in trouble. And I mean, I know I don't have our horse backs in this race, but maybe this is CJ Banks' triumph return with the blue and silver. Because again, he's just neutralised Joey Hayes at this point.
Well, what a way for CJ Banks to return to Futureshock Wrestling. What a way to set up 2019 if he can walk out of here tonight with the Adrenaline Championship and a big win over his old friend Joey Hayes.
Oh, big arm drag reversal. Oh, go for the cross Hayes. Cross Hayes.
We say how he softened up that arm all night long. Double underhook. Escapes out. JKO avoided. To the ropes.
Big German.
No. Rolls through. Shoulders are down. Shoulders are down. No.
Oh,
rolls all the way through. And these two men, shoulders, Joey Hayes is back and forth, over and over. The Adrenaline title is on the line. It's the last showdown at the Guildhall. Oh, these two men giving it their absolute all here. Hayes and Banks for the blue and silver, trying to get those shoulders down. Who's got it?
Roll
One
through.
last. No. Hayes kicks out. Banks goes into the ropes, rolls through. Is that shoulder? No. Only two. Only two again. Neither one of these men can get the advantage on the other. It has been back and forth for the entire match. Hayes looks like he's got a game plan. Going for a backslide. Can he get Banks over? Can he get him over? What? Oh, that is the time limit. That is the end of 15 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
What a match we've seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been informed we have a time limit draw this evening, ladies and gentlemen, which means still your Futureshock Adrenaline champion, Joey Hayes.
Wow.
Oh, what an encounter. What a contest. As we said, it was hold for counter hold, move for counter move. The 15-minute time limit on the title match expired. You've got to think, if it went 1 extra second, Sam, you've got to think that would have been a 3 count for Joey Hayes.
It could have been, but again, it was either way. It was back and forth. CJ Banks had a reversal of everything Joey Hayes did. Joey Hayes had a reversal of everything CJ Banks did. I can't say that this was a fair result because, again, we didn't get a conclusive winner, but
what a showing from both men. What a return for CJ Banks coming in here to wrestle that match with his friend, his brother for so many years. They both fought so well, so hard, and they both had such respect for not just the belt but for each other.
And that's good to see.
British wrestling needs a lot more of this. A hell of a lot more of this. Joey Hayes. And he's now. What is he doing?
Oh, CJ Banks is not happy about the result. Of course he isn't. Why would he be? He could have had Joey Hayes beaten. A time limit got put in place as CJ Banks was screwed out of the Adrenaline Championship.
Screwed? What are you talking
Screwed out of the Adrenaline Championship. As I said, the volatile nature of CJ Banks is showing.
Well,
that is championship material right there.
And for no damn reason he's attacking Joey Hayes. From behind, he wrestled like a man for the whole match, and then he does this.
Yeah, but Joey's our champion for how long? CJ Banks has his eyes set on that blue and silver, and you'd be a damn fool not to bank on
the wild
that.
look in his eyes. Wild look. CJ Banks has got a lust for that belt.
Look at that. That just looks right.